Hey guys, I am Ibigandscary and I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay. This one also done by KillerKoala. If you saw the last video that I cast of him, it was hilarious, and I'm expecting a similar return in humor, or at least just a crazy build. I think this one was the one he was talking about with a new build order. KillerKoala, top right corner, blue Terran, bottom left corner, red Protoss, Cachalitop. I'm going to call him Kacha, just for short. We are on Daybreak, which features a pretty easy to take, pretty easy to hold, natural right down the medium-sized ramp. A very large gap right here leads out to an easier to hold choke with some destructible debris. Up to the left, it'll take you up to the third, but it's a kind of a serpentine path. You can expect some of the faster units to take advantage of that by flanking large armies up here as they try to hold the choke. But again, the long pathway means that if you've got an overlord positioned correctly, or maybe an observer, then you can see that coming and get your troops pulled back or just into position. Catch-up throws down his gateway. KillerKoala throws down his barracks. No crazy gas from either player, so it's looking like just some anti-tech, basically. Of course, the second I say that, both players decide to screw me and throw down a refinery in a similar area. But it's still pretty standard, though, especially with the timing. Maybe some early tech. Maybe it's just so that each player can get their cybernetics core or tech lab up, respectfully. Wall-off's complete for KillerKoala. As the probe arrives, it's not going to be able to get in. Probe's doing a little bit of damage to that supply depot, but as long as that SCV stays out of the way, he's probably going to deal with it just fine. Usually, probes can handle SCV in a straight one-on-one fight, especially if the probe kites around a little bit, what with the regenerating shield. It looks like this SCV is going to take him to task, though, and it's going to go down. Probe only taking 10 points of permanent damage, and its shields are going to regenerate as it heads home. So, first blood goes to Kacha. Command center coming up as the cybernetics core goes down. 2 assimilators, double the gas, probably rush up to gateway tech. Maybe he's going to go into something higher like a 3-gate robo, or maybe even a starport if we're lucky. Another barracks for KillerKoala, another 2 barracks for KillerKoala. So he's going for 3 racks. Not super aggression. This is probably just to hold off any aggression that's coming out of Kacha. Still mining away on that 1 gate as the first stalker is underway. Stalker's going to be used to deny any scouting. Zealot's not super good at scouting, denying scouting done by SCVs, because they both run pretty much the same speed, and if a player's got enough APM, he can just micro around it. But a stalker, though, is much faster, and with its range, you can just deal with anything in there. So this stalker is going to take out that marine, and a probe is in position to take the nexus. At the same time, KillerKoala's got quite a lot of money saved up. He's got a little bit of ways to go before he can afford to throw down his own expansion. And it looks like with 3 racks and a double tech lab going down, he's probably going to gear up and punish Kacha for grabbing a expansion so early with only 1 gateway producing. Cybercore is finishing that warp gate. Once that warp gate's down, we can expect several more gateways to be dropped. And with these positioned to deny the expansion, I'm surprised not to see a probe. Maybe this guy's going to move up, drop a pylon behind enemy lines so that the warp-ins can come in. These 3 Marines and the Marauder's not going to have any problem holding off the Stalker, especially with that Zealot deciding not to do any damage to the supply depots. He wanted to get into the Marines, but with that walling, it's just not happening. There's those 2 gateways going down, 3 gate. We could expect something, a robo. It was a little late for a 4 gate pressure, so a robo is an excellent choice, especially with both gas already going and 400 gas saved up. He's going to be able to get those observers out, find out exactly what's going on in KillerKoala's base, which is nothing shocking. We see level 1 infantry and another barracks is going down. And with these 2 tech labs, we can expect combat shields. It looks like Marauder Slow is already done and Stim is on the way. Marauder Slow is going to be excellent in dealing with a heavy ground army. We see the 3 gateways, but the Robo might give him some grief with the Immortals coming out, or maybe even some Colossus. KillerKoala scouting behind the mineral line and the gas to make sure that Kacha didn't use the opportunity afforded by the early stalker pressure to throw down a pylon. It's a good play. If he had moved out his entire army and there was a pylon back there, he could have some significant problems, especially with that supply depot down. 3 or 4 Zealots can run right up into the base, and yeah, the Terran are always creating more and more units, and so he'd have a couple of units to deal with, but a full warp in of 4 Zealots can definitely cause some grief to some supply depots, or maybe even to some SCVs. Observer spots the incoming fight, and he decides to tag along with the units coming in. I can see that Kacha's got a lot of sentries down. Their force fields are going to be able to block off this ramp completely as long as they're in position. It looks like he's going to hold them back and maybe drop some supply or some force fields there to cut that army in half. Zealots will provide the meat shield, while the sentries and the stalkers provide most of the damage. We don't see any Immortals coming out. Immortals wouldn't be the most effective unit to deal with this composition. They can do some significant damage to the Marauders, but with so many Marauders, I agree with the current decision, which is to go heavy on the Zealots. 1 Marauder or Immortal is underway, just because Kacha hates me. That's why. No, it's okay, Kacha. I love you. You're doing good. KillerKoala, though, pushing in with a very large force. Guardian Shield goes down. Only 1 or 2 force fields cuts the army in half. Unfortunately, all those Zealots go down. There just wasn't enough. The Immortal pops out at just the right time, doing some massive damage to those Immortals, or to the Marauders, excuse me. Probes have to be pulled to provide just a little bit more of a buffer in between the damage-dealing units down here. Those probes do go down pretty quickly, and we can see at the unit counting station we've got 29 to 24. That might seem a lot, but remember that Kacha does have that expansion, so he's going to be able to get back up to that probe lead. Protoss is pretty much supposed to be ahead of Terran at all times in probe count, just because the Terran has those mules and also chrono boosts. If Protoss gets down below an SCV count, as far as workers are concerned, then the Protoss is in significant trouble. Not that Kacha is not in significant trouble with this large force in his base. He's going to be focusing down and canceling the Robo Bay. At the same time, these Zealots are having a difficult time with the Marauder Slow, catching up to the Marauders as they're kiting away. However, this force has taken a large amount of damage. KillerKoala, though, continuing to rendezvous with supporting units. He's got quite a production set up, but with no expansion, he really needs to make this work, and he has. He's taken out a lot of probes. He's done a lot of damage. I think now, though, he needs to pull back, resupply, build up another large force, and push in. With these 4 stalkers coming out, Kacha's going to be able to push Koala all the way back, and every unit that he continues to send in, he's just going to lose. And it looks like, yeah, KillerKoala decides to pull back. They're going to be holding up at the Xel'Naga Watchtower, and Kacha's content to re-macro. Does not appear to have a observer in his main base, so he does not know that KillerKoala hasn't expanded. I personally would have assumed that he'd expand in my absence, but it looks like KillerKoala is going to keep with that hyper aggression, which it's working for him. He's doing a lot of damage, especially if he can make it back into that probe line to do more damage. You can see that 6 gates are down, and at Twilight Council, 5 gates. 5 gates are down on a Twilight Council. Kacha's deciding not to rebuild that Robo, which is fine, especially with the double forges down. He's looking to get more upgrades to stay on the ground-based army. Some Zealot speed will be incredibly handy. We can see a Reaper underway for KillerKoala. A single Reaper is not going to do too much damage, but if he continues to create those and gets 3 of them up at the same time keeping pressure up here, those Reapers can get behind enemy lines and deal some devastating damage to the probe count. You can see that KillerKoala's still got 150 energy. on his base, needs to keep up with those drones. However, most of his APM is undoubtedly being spent on the combat down here, and it's to great effect. He's been able to keep Kacha on his back foot the entire time, but Kacha's managed to keep up with his unit production, and his probes are back up to 32/24. So even though we have double upgrades on the way, plus the Zealot legs, which is going to come in handy a lot, KillerKoala's got to decide if he's going to reinvest in this aggression, kind of forced to make it work, or set back and try to catch up with the economic lead. Looks like KillerKoala is going to go again, push in with some units. Again, some force fields preventing them from retreating, but it doesn't really cut that army in half, cutting down the damage per second. So KillerKoala just pushes forward like a boss and deals with Kacha's entire army, and you can see that he's almost at half supply now. That was his entire army going down, and KillerKoala's in a great place. Stemming to take out this probe line. Great decision. You're gonna see that probe count fall again. Now they're even, and now down to 18. Some multiple zealots getting morphed in. They're going to be able to push that army back, but the damage has already been done. That probe line is gone, and that is a big deal. You can see at the income, 6 harvesters to 24. It appears that a Reaper snuck in from behind and did some excellent damage down here. So now we have four harvesters to 24. Just a massive economic lead. KillerKoala doing that aggression that I was talking about with the Reaper, holding aggression up here. Even I was distracted by that. Didn't see the single blue dot of the Reaper coming down and taking out all of those units. And right now, Kacha just does not have the money to re-macro. He's got the infrastructure in place. He could warp in units, but since he lost all of his economy, this game is over. KillerKoala really doubled down on that early aggression, which was the absolute right decision. Probably one that I would not have made, and I would have lost this game. Hats off. It was crazy. Kacha undoubtedly is stupefied that he's lost. I could have sworn he was in a much better position, but with KillerKoala just keeping on with that macro. Keep units just streaming in, and if you look down at the minimap, you can see all of them coming. It was a really good game. This army is magnificent. Did you guys see the new units for Heart of the Swarm? It was pretty good. Good game. Day 9 casted a game about it, all the new units, and I gotta admit, Zerg is looking mighty fine. I like playing Zerg already, but those Vipers are gonna be pimp. Alright guys, I am Ibigandscary. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you around.